Good evening. Good evening. So it's fifth Monday, and now it's time for our quarterly fireside chat. I want to welcome everybody and just say thank you for coming tonight because there's so much you could have been doing, but you decided to share your evening with me. So hopefully you brought your snacks because I told y'all I like snacks. I ate my snacks already. I couldn't wait. But I do have my I like strawberry lemonade. I've been drinking the strawberry lemonade a lot, so I had that tonight. So just come on in and just let me know that you're here. If you see me looking back and forth because I'm trying to monitor the chat in front of me. Okay, so I'm a one-man show tonight. Hi, Asia. Good evening. How you doing? So if you just let me know who you are and just tell me where you're streaming from, and that would be great. And we're going to wait a little bit to let some other people come in. But I told you that the purpose of the fireside chat is just a casual conversation. So it's not scripted or anything like that. And I'm just going to go off your feedback and present and just chat. If there's anything that you want to add to the conversation, just put it in the chat and we can do that. Hi, Missy. Good to see you. Hi, Asia. Oh, thank you. So, all right. So tonight, what I wanted to talk about was, I told y'all that I am a British, my concentration is in British literature, right? So, of course, I love Shakespeare. And tonight, I wanted to share this quote that I found. Well, a popular quote by William Shakespeare. And I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. But it's about the different phases that men go through or women go through in their lifetime. And it's from a play, actually. And the quote goes like this: all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits, their interests, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. Now, I know that in this reference, he's talking about the stages or the life stages that man goes through, and he's talking about the exits that reference death. Okay, the interests, birth, but you go through different phases in your life. Well, tonight, I want to kind of look at it a little differently. And when I look at this particular piece, I look at it as all the world's a stage. That's life, right? We are the actors in this play. And a lot of times, that's exactly how we go through life. We just go through our parts and we're passive about those particular things. But life is so much more than that if we make it that way. And so tonight, what I wanted to talk about is how I lost me. And I'm sure that many of you have probably can probably identify with that. So if you have ever felt like there was a time in your life where you weren't sure about where you fit in, or maybe you were transitioning from maybe one job to another, or wherever that may be, just let me know in the chat and everything, because I know I can't be the only one that feels like that. And sometimes it's based on, I know sometimes young adults, like we tell them, graduate, graduate, graduate. We just need you to graduate. And they graduate, right? What then? We didn't really prepare them for life after graduation. It's like graduate, then maybe go to college, but what about all those things that's in between? And then for myself, as a as a mother and as a wife and everything, a lot of times you put all your energy into your children, and then they go on, they have lives on their own. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like you look up, what do I do now? And I kind of talked about that last week. I was just like, I have two little ones left. Well, they're not really little. They're in ninth grade now. So, when you have all your life has been geared towards all your kids, and then now it's like, okay, that's not me anymore. So I know, like, some people, when they're asked a question, who are you? You know what I'm saying? And then you say, oh, I'm a mom, or you describe your job or your, whatever your interest is, but that's not really the question. The question is, who are you? And I think sometimes we lose us along the way. I don't know about any of you. Yeah. So, Najla said being a teen mom, since 17, transitioning to an empty nester is a huge challenge. I bet it is, from the age of 17 all the way, and then it's all of a sudden it's crickets. You know what I'm saying? When you're used to all the bustling and the hustling and the noise in the house, it's got to be crazy. And then Asia said, yes, now you have to find out who you are outside of being a mom. And you're right. You're right. So for me, I had to fill all these different roles, and I had to be all these different things for different people. It didn't start off that way. I kind of knew what I wanted to do. Well, actually, I wanted to, when I was graduating from high school, I went to Lutheran East. Shout out to Lutheran East High School East, Cleveland, Ohio. But when I went to when I was in high school and we graduated, we had to say what college we wanted to go to and what was our attended major. That was part of the we had chapel, and that was part of the chapel and everything. And I remember I wanted to be a cytotechnologist. Everybody was like, what's a cytotechnologist? Well, a cytotechnologist is someone who studies blood cells. I was really interested in that. I loved biology, right? Who would have thought? Little old me liked biology, but I really did. And at that time, it wasn't that many schools in the state of North Carolina. I mean, in the state of Ohio that had that program. So I found college, Kent State. At that time, that was the only school that had a 4-year program in cytotechnology. And as plans went, I didn't end up going to Kent State. I ended up going to Cleveland State. Well, Cleveland State didn't have that major. So then I was like, well, what am I going to do with my life? You know what I'm saying? Because that was my plan. And the good thing, though, my parents didn't really try to push me to go in a certain direction. And I know that's not always the case for everyone, because, some people, if you might feel pressure to either go into a certain profession, or you might feel pressure to maybe take over. If your family has a business, maybe your family expects you to step in those set of shoes, and that may not be what you really wanted to do, or you settle for what's the next best thing. So for me, English has always been something I love. I love to read. I love to write. I used to write poetry all the time. And I was like, well, I wanted to be the next Connie Chung. I know I'm dating myself, right? I want to be the next Connie Chung and or Barbara Walters, And so that was in journalism. But when I found out that the path I had to take, I was just like, well, maybe I don't want to do that, Then I ended up becoming pregnant with my first one. And it was just like, okay, so I wasn't in college at the time. And I decided, I was like, well, what am I going to do that would allow me to be home the same time he was home? Because I started looking at all these different professions and all that type of stuff. And at this time I had dropped out for a couple of years, and school was not a priority to me at the time. And well, basically when you start making bills and all that good stuff, certain decisions are made for you, So I had to take care of that. And I was like, well, I think I'll just go into education. Education was something that I was looking at the time, but it wasn't real. I had a double major when I first started, and education was one of the my routes that I was going to take, but I wasn't sure if it really was what I really wanted to do at the time. But then once I had Xavier, it was just like, okay, I need to figure out an occupation that allows me to be home on the weekends and in the evenings when he's home. And what are the better profession than teaching, right? So that's how I ended up really on that path for real, like really going into that route. And then I just wanted to get out of college at that time because I was ready to get on with my life. And remember, I told you I had a double major. So I had English because English was always my first love, right? So my first priority. And then so I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna come out with an English degree. And then I'll go back to school later and get my certification for high school education. Well, it's actually it was 7 through 12 at the time when I finally decided to go back. So that's kind of how I end up in that particular set. Has anybody ever had one set of plans or that you thought that your future was going to be one particular way? And then something happens and it just kind of to the left, right? And then it's like, where do I go or what do I have to do at this particular time? Yeah. They just say, yeah, life happens, right? And then you have to adjust. So in that process, I was like, well, I had the mother. So I chose that career. I love education. So don't get me wrong. I do love it. I love teaching. I love making that connection with others and making those possibilities open for other people. And I think that's what set me on this path of where I'm at now, right? Plus my parents are educators. So it's natural for me. But then later, when I went to college, I met a good friend of mine that she actually showed me how to open up and be me and to voice my thoughts, my opinions, and like my voice matters. And once I found my voice, oh man, you couldn't silence me, right? But I kind of went from like one end of the spectrum to the other. And it was just like, I don't know. And then as I progressed over the years, it's I found out that my cares, what I consider to be open and direct sometimes can be offensive and abrasive to others. Right. Now I just said that she became confused when children children don't understand all the sacrifices that you do for them because your priorities and things kind of take the back burner because especially when you're one of those all-in moms, right? And you put all your energy into them and you just you want to make sure that because they didn't ask to be here. So you try to do your best to make sure that everything, the opportunities are open for them. And as you make those doors open for them, sometimes you just kind of phase on to the background, right? So with me, yeah, you got to find a balance. And that balance, though, is kind of hard. So with me, per se, when I moved from Cleveland to Charlotte, that was a big transition in itself. I've lived South before and everything, but it was a little different. And when I had to encounter some things that is out there, but it's different. And so I had to learn sometimes, Javon, you can't say that, or, try not to be so direct. And then I'm passionate about things and then people think I'm angry because I get loud, like when I get really excited or passionate about something, I get loud. Or My mom and dad has always taught me, speak up, be heard, so I don't mumble. Mumbling is not something that I do. And also because I'm an educator, all you educators out there, you command the room, right? So when I have the floor, my voice takes command. And sometimes people find that to be not a good attribute, right? So you try to squash that a little bit. Then when I decided to move from education into project management, that was another transition in itself. And once again, I had to try to squash or quiet some of my talents so that way I can make other people feel, whatever. So like, for example, I told you, I love technology. I'm always on the path of self-improvement or development, right? So I'm self-taught in computers and software. Anything tech, I love it, right? You ask me about how to incorporate technology into something, pretty much I can show you how to do it, right? And then back in the day, I taught myself how to create databases, right? And then I told you communications was my my forefront. So I'm really big into communications and writing and forms and like all that type of stuff. And so, and when I would go on job interviews, I had the last interview that really hurt my feelings a little bit was, I had went on this interview and the gentleman was all like, "Oh my gosh, I love your resume. You have so many skill sets." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, right?" And this is what I hate, when they pick your brain for like all the things that they want you to use. Yeah. So I'm telling him how to meet his company's needs. And because he had a global company. And I was like, well, why don't you, and remember, I create databases. Why don't you create a database, so, because he was talking about his company, like for a lot of his customers were in Japan, and the time difference and all that type of stuff. And I was telling him how, different avenues he can take with that. And then he took me all around the company and everything. And then finally, down here, everything has to go through a temp agency. So when I got the call back from my recruiter, the lady was like, "Yeah, he really likes you and everything. And but he said he's not sure where you'll fit in." What do you mean where I'm gonna fit in? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just said that my skill set is awesome. I can do what you ask and deliver more, and that's when I thought that all the different talents and skills that I had, I thought I look at them as being an asset, but sometimes, yeah, it is intimidating to some. And everybody doesn't embrace diversity, or because they want you to fit in this confinement that they have set for you, like this little box, right? And I'm not a square. It's like, when you had you see little preschoolers and they play and they have the blocks and they try to take the round peg and let's try the square. Let's put the square inside the round peg, inside the square peg inside the round hole. It's not gonna fit, right? You can force it and jam it as much as you want to. It's not gonna fit. And that's me. I am the round peg that people are trying to force into these confined spaces, and I will not be confined. But I found that over time, sometimes, you'd be like, well, maybe I am too direct. Maybe I do, you start self-doubting yourself. And has anybody ever felt like that? Like, you knew that you were good at something, but somebody just kind of put that little whisper in your ear and you just kind of thought, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Yeah, you told that you were overqualified. Yeah. And I don't see how that can be an issue. Seem like you will want people who seem like you will welcome that, but I guess that's just not the thing. You know, when I think of this, I think of that movie. What was that movie? I think it was Ants. And you see anybody see that movie Ants? Yeah. And then when you're in that movie Ants and everybody was marching to the same beat and then they was doing the dance and then that one ant was doing something different. Best friend is like that. Best friend will not do line dances because she refused to follow the beat. It's like she do her own thing and I love her for that, right? So yes, yes, Ari, people sometimes make you feel that job is not for you. But you know what? As I started to grow, I started to realize that that's a blessing in itself. That means I was too big for that space. And that space was not for me. And when I started to look at things that way, then things started to look a little different. And yeah, Naja, you're right. Sometimes we do whisper in our own ears and our own thoughts, and we sometimes impede our own progress, right? So I'm still on a journey of finding me. I am at the point now where I'm almost 50. I'm knocking on the door. I am right there. And I wanted something different. And finally, I decided I'm not going to allow anyone to tell me what my value is and what my self-worth is. When that guy told me that I don't know where you fit in, you know, like, I just don't know where you fit. What do you mean you don't know where I'm fit? Or I had someone tell me, if I was on the hiring committee, you're not the face I would envision for this position. Mind you, I was the only person of color on the team, but you're not really the face that I would envision for this position. Once again, even though you have confidence and that it's another ding, right? Another chip. And then you start to feel like, okay, I need to adjust. What do I need to do? And then you find out that as you adjust, pieces of you get left along the way, right? And you're right. You had to create your own space. And that's exactly what I did, because I decided that no longer am I going to let anyone tell me what they feel I should fit or where I should do or what my worth is, you know? And once I finally embraced that, I started to find happiness again, because I had started to get to the point of resentment. I started to get frustrated. I started to get angry, you know what I'm saying? And I started lashing out. And I felt like, yeah, I was just like, and sometimes you feel like it's coming from all sides, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, Dad, can I get a break? You know, like, can somebody just let me be me, you know? And yeah, so I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I've always walked to a different beat. But I do believe in processes and rules. You know, I do believe in that. I'm an educator. Of course, I believe in rules, right? But I believe in like structured chaos. You know, I believe in allowing people to be creative and embrace that creativity. And we have so many talents and gifts and abilities within us, but we have either let others limit our progress or tapping into all those different things, or we have, like Najla said, you know, whispering in our own ear and we have did all that, and we're not living our best full life. And we are all destined for greatness. And that is what it is. And that's what we are here for. And what I decided to do is I wanted to just I know with all the things that's going on lately, and just wherever you may be in the stage of your life, you might be at the crossroad and you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to do. And you're trying to find that direction. But you also, that means you had to get in touch with you again. So Naja said, I told my trainer that I am getting bored with this new way of eating. And he responded with, you better get used to this new way. All right. Those words went a long way and spoke to my life, of course. When you have to make adjustments, and life is about adjusting and evolving. And I have this, my philosophy is you have to evolve, because if you're not evolving, you're stagnant. And when I think of things that are stagnant, I think of death, right? So if you're not growing, if you're not evolving, you're dead, right? So sometimes we just have to embrace that change, right? Hey, Lisa, glad you made it. Good to see you on there. And so that's pretty much what I was thinking about. And it was just like, so if you're at that crossroad in your life and you're trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, because once I hit that wall and I was tired of being frustrated, I have been everything for everyone else. I'm mom. I'm sister. I'm friend. I'm sister in Christ. I'm daughter. I'm wife. Who is Javon? You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the roles I play. But sometimes we lose ourselves in the role. Who am I as an individual? And sometimes, I had to think about that. So best friend was like, Javon, what do you like to do? I was like, I don't know. Remember I said I used to write poetry. I don't write poetry anymore. Like, I really didn't have the time. I used to love the gym and go to the gym all the time. Like, I love that, working out and all that type of stuff. Y'all, now I don't even walk to my mailbox. Like, mailbox? No. So and that right there, that has nothing to do with time. That's just being lazy, But I used to read. I remember when I first started my first couple of jobs, and that's a whole nother discussion right there. Every check, I will buy a book. I just started back purchasing, but now I do everything digital, like my Kindle. But I just started purchasing books probably like a couple of months ago. Like, I lost my love for things, and it's hard to find your purpose if you don't know what it is that you love anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or your passion, because there's a difference between passion and purpose. And, but because passions change, whatever my interest might be today may not be what it is tomorrow, but your purpose is always constant, right? That's what you're destined to do. That's what you were designed to do. And if you are on that path of trying to find out what it is that you love to do, or you want to redirect yourself and become you again, or maybe you want to become a new you. Maybe you don't like the old you and you want to become a new you. That's fine too. But you're asking yourself, where do I go from here? Well, friend, I'm glad you came tonight, because we're going to meet. I'm going to go live every Monday at 8 p.m. for the month of April. And what I want to do is invite you to go on this journey with me of finding the journey of finding me, or the journey of finding my purpose. And I'm an educator. So, I got activities and all that good stuff. So, when I post this video, I'm going to put a link in the description box. And that link is going to take you to where I'm going to house all the activities and stuff. And every week I'm going to post this video. So if you missed it, it's okay, because I'm going to put it inside the link to that. And of course, you can always find it here on YouTube, as well. But we're going to start a process with that. And I'm just going to give you a heads up. You're going to need a journal. Okay. I believe in reflection. Reflection is important for growth, right? So, and if you're not a writer, that's fine. You can sketch, there's sketch notes, or people like to draw. You can just jot stuff down. The purpose of it is so that at the end of this, at the end of April, we should see growth. And at the end of April, we will know what it is that we would like to do with our lives at this particular point. Okay. So we will no longer be at those crossroads. Okay. So anybody else have anything else they want to add to this discussion? The participation has been really great tonight. I thank y'all for showing up and showing out. I see my She Bloss is on here. Awesome job. Thank y'all for supporting. And if you need a group and you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to get out there and you need just that support, She Bloss is a wonderful community. So you can find her on Facebook. If you put your handle, either your Instagram handle on here or your Facebook, so that way people can follow you. Okay. And so she's really good. Now it's from a spiritual support point of view. So they're gonna get the spiritual in. Okay. So, but it's for entrepreneurs too, because remember, I can't remember who said, I also believe in when opportunities are not there. Everybody say, prepare yourself, opportunity will present itself. Yes, that's what my daddy said, right? So I do believe if you prepare yourself, opportunities will present itself, right? Because opportunities are always out there. But sometimes when the opportunity is not there, you got to kick the door down, right? You got to kick your door and make your own opening, so that way you can walk in your purpose. So if you are ready to make that move, then yes, that is something that you want to check out. So thank y'all for coming tonight, and don't forget to check the description box a little bit later, and I have the link there. And we're not going to start till next week, but you're going to get started. Just grab your journal, grab your snacks, and we're going to hit the ground running next week. Okay. So thank y'all for showing. And if you would like any other additional resources, please check out my website, SPARKNUniversity.com. Okay. So enjoy your evening, and remember to choose today to start living your life boldly, passionately, and purposefully. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.